the future. So this is the URL, and then I'm also just gonna like grab some text. So, oh, it really knows. It's because when I was practicing, it probably has the autocomplete saved. So this will use the request module to get the text of the HTML from that page. So if I, for example, if I just print this out, it's just gonna be a lot of stuff. Like this is the string. It's just all of that. And Beautiful Soup will help us parse through that so that, you know, it's not just a bunch of garbage. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a Beautiful Soup object, and here I'm gonna give it the HTML text and tell it that I'm using the parser for HTML, just the basic HTML.parser. And then I'm going to, I can go through, for example, and I can say, let's say I want to find all of the links on the page. So I can give it a string that's just a tag. So there you go. It has it printing all of the URLs on the page, right? And you can do a lot of different stuff with this. But what I want over here is I want this information right here. So whenever I visit this page, I want to know when the next time the International Space Station is flying by. So I can go here and click inspect. So inspect element, it's your best friend when you're web scraping. And I can see that there's a table. So each of these columns is a TD tag. So if I can see here the one with the time on it, the date, that has an attribute here. It says scope equals row. So if I want to, like, let's say, grab all of those, I can do, I guess, soup.findAll TD, and then I can hand it a dictionary of attributes. So if I say scope is equal to row, then it will give me, yeah, see, so these are the HTML elements corresponding to the dates in the table. And if, let's say I want to get the, let's say I'm going to say each of these is one sighting, right? So one time that you can see the International Space Station. So let's say I want to loop through those, and I could just get the text. So I was going to print that. Yeah. So that'll just print out the string. So that's like the code I need to write to get the data I need instead of using the Open Notify API. So I'm going to actually write this in a Python file so I can run it and use it with other code if I want to send emails with it, for instance. So now what I'm going to do is a lot of the similar code you just saw me write. I'm going to import the Beautiful Soup stuff that I need. And also, if I make a typo, feel free to point it out, because this is we're all pair programming right now. So if I misspell a word, let me know, because I might not notice. I'm going to import the requests library because I'm going to need that. And then I'm just going to do basically the same thing you just saw me do. So I'm going to grab the URL of this. Now in this example, I'm using São Paulo. I wanted to use Manaus, but if you go to the page for Manaus, I'll refresh this real quick. If you go to the page for Manaus, you can see that there are no sightings in this area from October 19th to November 3rd. So unfortunately, the International Space Station will not pass by here for at least a couple of weeks, but it's passing by São Paulo on October 31st. So we'll just use that as the example. I'll copy and paste this URL, and then I will, you know, I'll get the text from it. I'll do the request again. And I'll grab the text from that, and then I'll create the Beautiful Soup object, giving it that HTML text and the HTML.parser. And now I can write a function that just, let's say we're going to call this getNextSighting. So that way, we could just call this function and get a date time object for when the International Space Station will pass by São Paulo. So I'm gonna just create a list called sightings, and this I'm gonna loop through all of the columns in that table and add them to this list. real quick. So, and I'm also going to create that dictionary for the data that I need. The scope is row. This talk isn't specifically about Beautiful Soup, but there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. This is one of them. You can also use regular expressions if there's like certain strings you want to find in there, but that is not what I'm going to do today. So now I'm going to say, I'm going to go through all of these. So I'm going to find all again, all the TD tags that have these attributes. And for each one, I'm going to create a datetime object. So I'll just call that citing time. And here I'm going to parse that string and turn it into a datetime object. So I'm going to use a library called Arrow. Arrow is just basically, it makes dealing with datetime objects easier in Python. It's just a convenient tool to use. So I'm going to say arrow.get, and this you can give it a string. So I can give it the text of that object that we're getting for each of these columns, and then that text will I can parse it with a filtered string. So if I go to the Arrow documentation right now, it has I mean their documentation page is a little janky. I think someone needs to fix it, but you can see here it has these supported tokens for parsing. And we basically just have to match this to this string right here. So we want October 31st, like abbreviated month, the date, a comma, and then the time with the AM and PM. So if I go through here, I can see that we want the month. So where is that month? Yeah, so we want, it's abbreviated, so MMM, so 3 capital M's. And then the day, so that day will be right here, so just a capital D, and then there's a comma, I believe. So the comma, and then we need the hour, so it's like 8:40, I think what it was. So yeah, I believe it would be this, yeah, 0, 1, 2, etc. So that's a capital H, and then I need the minutes, which yeah, 2 lowercase m's, because that's 2 digits. And then I need the, if I put a capital A, that tells it that we're looking at AM and PM, not 24-hour time. So it's 8:40, not like 20:40. But if I leave it like this, there will be no time zone or year. So I'm just going to add arbitrarily, just add another string. So like the time zone, I think like the proper name for it is America slash, did I spell it right? Yeah, America slash Sao underscore Paulo, and then 2022 will be the year. So if I do ZZZ and YYYY, then that will get us the time zone and the year. So I think that should work. And now what I'm going to do is, if that is yeah, I'm gonna append these to the sightings list. So add that datetime object, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to return the next one. So I'm going to see if there is any in there. So I'm going to loop through all these, and I'm going to check to see if they're in the future, because this website makes it so that like this is showing everything from October 19th to November 3rd, but today is October 22nd. So it's possible that one of these could already be in the past. So you know, just a little double check to make sure that we're not like going to the past. So I'm going to say if it's greater than arrow.now, which is just an object corresponding to our current time, then I'll just return that. And if not, then I guess we won't return anything. So now I'm just going to run this code to make sure it works. Yeah, I'll just I'll get the next one. Yeah, so I'm just going to run this, see if it prints anything out, and hopefully it does. Oh, I did not finish spelling the word, so that'll give an error. All right, cool. Let's see if this works. All right, cool. So we got the datetime objects. Now we know when the International Space Station is going to fly by. And now we can use that to schedule an email to be sent. So I'm going to change gears a little bit, and I'm going to walk through how to send an email with the SendGrid API. So like Twilio has an API called SendGrid, which you can use to send and receive emails and do a lot of stuff with. I'm going to, first thing, just write a basic function to send an email in general. So I'm going to call this one, I'll just call it send email. And well, first I need to import some stuff. Import the OS because I'm gonna have to access some environment variables. And then I'm also going to import all the SendGrid helper libraries. So the SendGrid API client library. And I think this one's in helpers.mail. I'm going to import the mail object so I can create an email to send. So in this function down here, what we're going to do is we're going to create a SendGrid API client. And this, I'm going to give it an environment variable with my SendGrid API key, because I don't want to show that to a whole audience of people, because then you'll get my credentials. So I have that in there. And next I'll create a message. So I can create a message with this mail object. And what this is going to do is it's going to take, I'm going to say that this function takes an email that you're going to send it from, an email address you're going to send it to, the subject line, and the body of the email. So over here, we're gonna send this out. So you're going to say you're sending from this email, you're sending to this email, and this argument is plural because you can send one email to multiple people. And then we're just going to pass the subject line in there. And you also, in these emails, you can add HTML content, so you can just write HTML in there by hand, but you don't have to do that. We're just going to pass that in as a string for now. But yeah, if you don't want to write HTML by hand, SendGrid also has we have this thing called templates, so you can make a template in your SendGrid account to so you don't have to write HTML by hand. You can have these preloaded and everything. For example, here's like a example version if you wanted to go do some marketing about juices or something, right? You can edit those, but for this talk, we're just going to send one sentence, so we don't need to deal with any of that. So now we actually send the email. We're going to send that message, and then I'll print the response status code just so we know that something happened. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, similarly to down here, I'm just going to send myself an email at first. So I'm going to say send email. I'm going to send it from an email address that I already have. So this leads me to another thing is when you're sending emails, often you can get stuff stuck in people's spam folders. But with SendGrid, you can authenticate your domain so that it's called an authenticated sender. So it verifies your domain. I bought the domain address samag.nu because my name is Sam Agnew, and I thought it sounded funny. So for all my demos, I just use that domain name. And I already have that pre-verified with SendGrid, so hopefully my emails will not end up in your spam folder. But yeah, so that is the email address I'm going to send it from. I'm going to send it to my Twilio email address, so my work email, sagnew@twilio.com. The subject will be, I'm just going to say test, and the body will be please work. And let's see if my code works. So this will just to check to see if I can actually send an email. Cool, that looks promising. So let me check my inbox real quick and see if that actually went through. Cool, everyone loves loading a web page. All right, cool, so the email code works. That's the code you have to write to send an email. So now with that, we're gonna make it so that, that you can receive emails. So that way you can all send an email to this email address, and then I can send you a notification when the International Space Station passes by. So I'm gonna do that by creating a Flask application. Flask, like the micro web framework for Python. It's a very useful tool for stuff like this, like smaller talks. So I'm going to start by importing all the stuff I need, the request object and the Flask. And I think that's all I need for now. I'm going to create a Flask app object. And this app is only going to contain one route, and it's going to be, I'll say /email, and it will take post requests. So whenever a post request is sent to the /email route on this web app, this function will be called. I'll call it email response. And we can do whatever we want in here. Here I can grab information associated with the email. What's happening is that, so you saw the code I had to write to send the emails, but for receiving emails, we have to use SendGrid's inbound parse API. So here is you have your host URL. So this is like, if you send anything to any email address on samag.nu, I have it configured so that a post request will go to this URL, sagnu.ngrok.io/email. ngrok is just a useful tool that opens up a port on my machine it opens up a tunnel to a port. So I have a publicly accessible URL. For instance, if I'm running a Flask app on port 5000, then I have this URL that I can give it. So whenever someone sends an email to that email address, it will go to this Flask application. So in here, all I want to do is see what email you're sending it from, like what your email address is. I'm using the word email a lot in this talk. So I'm just going to grab your what it was sent from, so that way I can like send something back in response. And here for now I'm just going to like respond to an email. So I'll just call the function that I wrote in that other file. So I'll just import ISS, that was the name of the module. And I'm going to call send email, send_email. And what I'm going to give it is, let me make sure I check the argument order. So the one I'm sending it from is going to be ISS@samag.nu. And I'm sending it to the email that this one was sent from. The subject will be, thank you for joining my demo. And the text will be, Python Brazil is awesome. And I'll put a little smiley face there. And then I need to make sure I return a response. I'm just going to return an empty string with a status code of 200. And down here, I will make sure that I can run this. I'm going to set debug equal to true because I'm live coding, and you never know what can go wrong. I think that's all the code I need to write to send an email. So let's see if this works real quick. Cool, so it's running. You can all actually email this now if you want to help me test my code out. If everyone wants to send an email to this email address, iss@samag.nu. So iss@samag.nu. I'm going to send one too. Hopefully it'll work. Let's see. I'm going to say hello. I'm just going to say, yo, please work. And we'll see what happens. It usually takes a little bit of time for it to come through. So as I just sent mine, yeah, so the message just sent. It takes like a couple seconds. It could take up to like 20 or 30 seconds. So you should see the request coming through in a minute to this URL because I have ngrok running. There you go, cool. So that was a 200 response. That's good. That means something worked. And let me see if it actually responded to me. Cool, so it says, thank you for joining my demo. Python Brazil is awesome. So cool, the email code works. Now all I have to do is write code to schedule it so that it happens when the International Space Station flies by. I'm going to turn this server off. So if you send another email from now on, you will not get a response because I just killed the server. So I'm gonna go back to my app and I'm gonna open up I'm just gonna add the Redis queue stuff. So here, Redis queue is just a convenient tool to use for scheduling tasks. Some of you may be familiar with Celery, which is another popular Python tool that you can use for scheduling tasks, but Celery can be a little bit more complicated. You can do a lot with it, but Redis queue is just kind of easier for when you're trying to do simple things. And there's a library called RQ Scheduler that you can use where you can just give it a date time object and a function and the arguments to those functions, and it will just do it for you. So that's what we're going to do in here. We're gonna use the Redis queue stuff in here. So I'm gonna import all the Redis things that I need. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna import from Redis, import Redis, capital R. And I'm also going to import the RQ scheduler stuff. Make sure I spelled that correctly. Cool, yeah. And I think I'm going to need arrow again. Will I need arrow in this one? I'll import it later if I need it. So over here, instead of just immediately responding to the email, what I'm going to do is when I receive an email in this route, I'm going to check the International Space Station data and like find out what the next sighting is. And then, yeah, so it's going to call get next sighting. And then if that isn't nothing, like if that actually exists, if there actually is one, because it could be an empty page, if there is one, then I can send this email, but I'm going to schedule it to be sent instead of directly sending it right then. So what I would do is call scheduler.enqueue at, yeah, that word is easy to misspell, so I have to make sure I double check that. It's a lot of similar letters. So enqueue at, and then I give it the next sighting. This is the datetime object that we got from our function. And then I can give it the send email function. So pretty much going to copy and paste some of this. Yeah, I'll copy and paste this part. And then I'm going to give it the subject line, which will be, I'll say, International Space Station alert. And I'll put an exclamation point because this is serious and exciting. And then the body of this email is going to be, I guess I'll just say, look up, the ISS is flying above you. And now I can get rid of that other stuff. I think this is all I need to do to schedule those. See if I can get that working. Yeah, I think that should work. So let's see if this actually works. So that's the code you need to write to schedule the email to be sent. I'm going to run this app, and I'm going to send myself an email. Now you can actually all send an email now as well if you want to help me test my code again to iss@samag.nu. So I'm just going to send another one as an example. I'll say, when is the ISS passing by? It doesn't matter what you say because I'm not parsing that part, but you can like do all of that stuff if you want. And I'll say, please tell me. And I'll send an email here, and I'll see if anything comes in. Cool, got some 200 responses, which is good. So now I wait a couple seconds. Oh, scheduler is not defined. That's because I forgot to name the variable. But that's good because at least at least I can see that. Actually, I'll create this up here. So I'll say scheduler equals, yeah, capital, and I have to give it a Redis connection. So it'll connect to the default Redis queue, or the default Redis server, which I have running in another tab. So now I can run my code and send another email and just say hello, what's up, and see if that one runs. Cool, so it says message sent, and now I wait for that to come through. I see the ngrok is loading. 502 bad gateway. Arrow object is not callable. Did I use arrow? Oh, is this in send email? Where did I do that? That is strange. I'm not sure what that one is. So yeah, it's a 500 type error, line 18 in app.py, and then what line was that in send email? Arrow object is not callable. That is on line, oh, I guess I can't see that. Yeah, let me double check this then. So over here, it's going iss.send email. Does anyone see what the error could be? I'm sorry, oh, the parentheses? I can't hear you. Go down. Oh, in here?
Or I think down some more.
Down some more.
Oh, no.
It's in this file, right?
I'm not sure. I think you had on next sidings.
Oh, in this
When
file?
you call, yeah, like line 18 without the braces. I don't, maybe.
I can't hear you. You said on line 18?
Line, next siding.
You know, I'm gonna see if this I'll just do that. I'll see if that works. Like, see if it, because I know that in this example, it will be true. So I'm gonna send another email, so that way I can at least look at the error again. Doesn't really matter what I say here. I got another 10 minutes, so we can fix this within the next 10 minutes. Yeah, I think all those 502 bad gateways probably from when I stopped the server. Oh, this is a good opportunity to drink some water. Oh, that's strange. Nothing is coming through now. It's like I sent the email, right? I'll just send another one. Okay, cool. So I have another error. It's like the same error, so I can at least look at it. So it's emails app.py, line 18, type error, arrow object. Oh, now I see what you were saying. I put the parentheses. I thought you were saying I was missing parentheses, but I have parentheses there that aren't supposed to be there. Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Okay, cool. So I didn't need to remove that, that's for sure. Yes, oh, yeah, because I already called the function, so I was used to like typing that after I called the function. All right, cool. So now it should work. Gonna send another email. When I look at my email inbox later, I'm just gonna have like a million of these. Cool. Thank you for the assist. Some fun pair programming, right? Okay, so now people are emailing. I'm getting some 200s, which is good. That's a good sign. So if you continue to email this, you will be subscribed to notifications for when the International Space Station passes by. There's just one problem. I only have a little bit less than 10 minutes to finish my talk. But if you can see on this webpage, the International Space Station is not coming by until October 31st. And that will be after my talk is finished. So we can't just sit here and wait for like a whole couple of weeks, right? So instead what we're gonna do is we're gonna travel through time. I'm just gonna change the time on my laptop to be the time that the International Space Station is coming. Well, I guess you are gonna see me type that. So instead of setting the date and time automatically, yeah, get those emails in now, because if you don't get that in now, you will not receive a notification. So I'm gonna say, oh, that's convenient, yeah. So I'm gonna say, if it said 8:40 p.m. in São Paulo time, in Manaus, that's 7:40, I believe. So I'm changing the time to 7:39:55 on October 31st. Cool, we just traveled to the future. We just traveled 9 days into the future. And in around now, we should start getting some emails. So I should see some stuff coming in. Oh no, actually we shouldn't, because I'm not running I'm not running the worker process. So sorry about that. I gotta reset that. Okay, now if you send another email, you should get it. and then I'll just time travel again. So this is about to finish here. Cool, so everyone send another email. You'll get a response, and then we'll travel through time again, and then I'll be finished with my talk. So there's some stuff coming in. And now we can see, because it's past that, we see all these coming in. And oh cool, I got 2 alerts because I sent it twice. I guess actually I didn't need to reload it because as soon as I ran the RQ worker, it went through. So now I got 4 emails telling me that the International Space Station is flying above me. Because if hypothetically on October 31st in Sao Paulo, this would be true, although it's not currently. But anyway, so that's good. Glad it's working now that we're getting some. Did anyone else get an email? Cool, all right, some people got emails, that means it went through. Awesome. So that's really all the code I need to write for now for this talk. Just like a quick example to show you how to use Redis queue to schedule tasks, how to use SendGrid to send emails, and up until a week ago, unintentionally, how to use Beautiful Soup to scrape web pages. If you have any questions, again, you can find my email address at the beginning of this blog post right here, sagnew@twilio.com. Find me on Twitter at sagnewshreds if you want to talk to me there. I will be at the Twilio booth for the rest of the event. So come find me, come hang out with you. I will see you all later, and thank you for joining my talk. And thanks for helping me debug.
Any questions? Any questions? Alguma pergunta? Okay, thank you very much for everyone for sharing your knowledge with our community. We're going to give you this little gift.
Cool.
Thank you very much
Awesome.
for contributing with our community.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a mug. That's really cool. I'll drink my coffee out of this every day now.
Oh, thank you. Obrigada, gente. Até a próxima.
Thank you, everybody.